Hello, Cambria Solution Center, and here we are back for part 3 in our video series. Okay, so we're talking about subtasks, stories, and how they move across the board. We're also going to talk about how we handle multiple assignees. Okay, so let me talk about multiple assignees first. All right, so one of the pieces of feedback that I got was the inability to assign a story to multiple people. Um, without without some really kind of screwy configuration, there really isn't any way to do it. And this is done very purposely by Jira. Jira has a lot of built-in reports, and a lot of those built-in reports are based on assignee. And if you have multiple assignees, it just simply will break those reports. So Jira does not allow for any story to have multiple assignees. But there is still a way that we can deal with it, and that is using the subtasks and the parent-child relationship within them. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate this story right here. I'm actually going to assign it to myself. So I am the person responsible for this story, and I'm going to have Tom help me on this story because Tom has some specialized skill set that I need. And then we're going to just pick whoever pops up first, Chris. And Chris also has a specialized skill set that I need to help me with this story. So this is how we handle multiple assignees, by just simply taking the story and breaking it into a piece for each person. That way each person owns their individual piece, and each one of those pieces can progress across the board as appropriate. So that's how we handle multiple assignees. If I have 5 people helping me with this particular story, then I'm going to have 5 different subtasks. But I'm going to have a subtask for each person, and that's how we handle multiple assignees to a single story. I am still the person responsible for the parent story, but I'm indicating the individual pieces that the people that are helping me own. So that's how we handle multiple assignees. All right, so now let's talk about how the stories move across the board, because there are some changes there. Previously, the workflow that we had applied to every single story that there was, and I changed that. So now the different issue types actually have different workflows. In particular, epics. Epics have a very simplified workflow, and subtasks have a very simplified workflow. For bugs, stories, and issues, they're the same. And let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on this story. I'm going to open it up all the way because I need to show you the workflow. And I apologize for getting a little cumbersome. This isn't exactly something I'm happy with. Okay, so with the subtask, you can see that it has a different workflow. It has a very streamlined workflow. It goes from open, which is when it's created, ready, that's our first state on the board, in progress, and done. Subtasks don't get tested. So they don't need to go through any kind of testing state. It's the parent story that gets tested, and it's the parent story that either gets accepted or rejected. So for our subtasks, when they're created, when they're put into ready, and somebody works on them, when they're finished working on them, it just moves to done. There's no review step. And I'll show you what that looks like on the board. All right, so I'm going to take this story right here, and I'm going to move it to in progress. And remember, when I grab the story, it shows me what's available to me. All right, what the next available status is. So I pick it up again. Notice that there is no PO approval. It just goes straight to done. So I'm going to go ahead and drag it and drop it there. Same thing with this one. But I want to demonstrate something else really quick. Also, when a story, when a subtask moves out from underneath its parent story, it still maintains kind of a shadow card to show you the connection that it has. So in this case, CP1-44, which is the parent story, is indicated right here. All right. I want to talk about the parent story. There's a change that we made there as well. And that is, I put a condition into the workflow that says the parent story cannot be closed until all the children's stories are closed. So I've already taken one of my subtasks and I've moved it to done. But I'm going to try to do the same thing with the parent story, and let's see what happens. So I move it to in progress, and notice I don't have any options past in progress. And it is because we have this subtask that has not been moved to done yet. So once I take this subtask and move it to done, now the parent story can progress, go to PO approval, and then to done. So that's one of the changes that have been made. So I'm going to demonstrate it one more time. We're going to take our parent story, we're going to move it to in progress. We're going to take our children's stories. Parent won't move any further forward. We're going to finish those out, that one out. Still no option on moving forward. We're going to take our other child story, move it to done, and now the parent story can be closed out. Okay, so that's how we handle multiple assignees, and that's how we move stories across the board. And now let's do one other thing real quick, and we're going to go back to our backlog. We're going to take this story, and I want to talk about the flags for a moment that I pointed out in the previous video. All right. So we click on the story, it opens up this window over here. Now if we come up to the three dots up here and we click on that, we can say add the flag. Alright, we've now indicated that this story is an impediment, and if you notice it changes the card color, it adds this little visual indicator up here. Alright, we're going to take that story, keeps the color, it's really screaming at us that hey, there's a problem with this story. Alright, it still does the same thing here as well. Alright, and that's one of the reasons why I really love this actually. If the impediment has been satisfied and is no longer an impediment, we can come up here, we go back to the three dots, and we say remove the flag. We'll go ahead and we'll close it, and now it reverts back to normal. So I really love that visual indicator that there is something wrong with this story, that you need to deal with it. So if one of your stories, whether it's a bug, whatever the case may be, is an impediment for some reason, highly encourage you to use that flag because visually it is very, very powerful. But for now, I'm going to leave this story right here in progress because it is going to set us up for our next video, which is where we're going to talk about releases. Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.